Welcome back to another BestowCast. I don't mean to ring the Disney bell or the Marvel bell. It seems like I'm on that bend quite frequently. It's just kind of one of those oddities where like Marvel and Disney are just crushing it in terms of the geek culture kind of stuff. I mean, it doesn't help that Disney owns majority of the stuff when it comes to like Star Wars and Marvel. But it's like everything else kind of pales in comparison. I mean, we're in the middle of no man's land when it comes to DC Comics and Warner Brothers and what Discovery is doing with their kind of stuff. Maybe I'll come back around and we'll look at like maybe Black Adam or something in the future. But as it is now, it's just like, Disney is just constantly in your face with this stuff. It's just that, She-Hulk is over, we got Andor. When Andor is over, we got Werewolf by Night. When Werewolf by Night is over, we've got Willow. When Willow is over, we got another Star Wars thing. When Star Wars thing, we got Mandalorian. When Mandalorian, it's just boom, 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 constantly out there. So it's kind of hard to overlook that. I will try to do my best to to look past it and look at something different. But for now, we are going to look at the coming attractions when it comes to Disney Plus. If you're on your Disney Plus app, you can go down to the coming soon. There's a coming soon little bar, and they provide you with little trailers and stuff. So if you're into knowing about things that are coming about, you get to spoil yourself with some trailers. And there's some interesting things in here because there's some stuff that, I knew that was announced a long time ago and just kind of, you don't know when they're going to come around or if they're going to come around at all or if they got canceled or whatever. And as we're getting closer and closer, we're getting little trailers. So let's start with, now I'm gonna try to pick and choose here. I'm gonna try to pick and choose stuff that is related to our geek culture stuff, which is a little tough because sometimes this stuff also, it also relies on our childhood, and each of us our childhood is from a different era, so it's nostalgia based as well. So I'm actually going to start with one that by the time this episode's out, by the time you're listening to this, it has already started. Its air date is, it's called Tales of the Jedi, and its start date is October 26th. So yeah, this will totally be already started and running. Here's a little like complaint I have with Star Wars. They just want to pick apart the same eras. They just want the original trilogy, and they just want to pick apart the prequels. It's just so weird. Like nobody liked the prequels, and now all of a sudden the prequels are prime game. But they just constantly want to like retell a lot of stuff, or just focus on the same era. Like we can't go anywhere beyond, like, we have the new sequel trilogy, but we don't do anything with it. I mean, I guess we got stuff with the Mandalorian and we got stuff with Boba Fett, but they still they're kind of filling in the blanks of post Jedi kind of era. They're not really. They're still filling in the blanks of the Clone Wars TV series. So Tales of the Jedi, you'd think that there would be like maybe something that would go back in time even further, would maybe tell stuff from way long, way before the original trilogy. Let's tell us more about more of let's fill in those blanks of like a different era. But it's more that it focuses on like Tales from the Jedi focuses like you see in the trailer, you see Ahsoka, baby Ahsoka, or what's perceived to be a baby Ahsoka. I assume it's this baby Ahsoka, kind of reaching out towards a cat type character, cat type creature. So it's gonna focus on her. You see which is pretty kind of exciting, is you see a young Count Dooku. At one point you see him with a beard, a black beard, not a gray beard, and you actually see him unbearded, and you see his Padawan, Qui-Gon Jinn. So you kind of get some stuff with that, which is kind of exciting. Again, you have stuff with Ahsoka, and you see her with Anakin, so you kind of get some stuff with him and her interacting, and you get some stuff with like Mace Windu and stuff. You see some of the Jedi Council. You see Yoda and everything else. So it seems like a lot of this stuff deals with prequel era kind of stuff. It kind of fills in the blanks to prequels. I wouldn't mind learning a little bit more about Count Dooku. I wouldn't mind learning a little bit more about Qui-Gon Jinn. I'm sure Ahsoka has her fans, and they have to build up Ahsoka because she's gonna have her own Disney Plus series. And I don't want to disparage the fans, but it's kind of getting a little bit too much. Where it's like, can we move on? Can we? I mean, at least I guess with Ahsoka, she's an original character. I'll give her that. I'll give it that. Is that Ahsoka is an original character, so you kind of can define and do whatever you want with her. You can there's story potential with that character versus telling the 50th dedicating a goddamn series to Obi-Wan Kenobi or dedicating a series to Andor, where it's like, well, where are you going to go with this? We already know what's going to happen with those people. But I'm going to stop ranting about Star Wars, and we're going to move on to another coming attraction here. So The Mandalorian is on the coming soon to Disney Plus, but it does not have a trailer. I think it has a trailer though. I'm pretty sure I saw the trailer online. It may not have been an actual like a trailer showing what's in the season or what's actually been shot for the season, but I think it's like maybe it might have been like re-edited from like past seasons, so it just has stuff. It's just what it would I wouldn't say it's a teaser. It's a I don't know what a hype, a sizzle reel, kind of get you pumped for the new season. Right. Mandalorian season 3 is February of 2023, so it's not too far a while. We're a couple months away from that. I mean, you just got the Paul that's bitching about everything's connected and everything. We have to tell stuff that's so unoriginal, not moving forward, and just trapped in a bubble and constantly shrinking the universe. And then we have the Mandalorian, which kind of at times expands the universe and at times just kind of harkens back to Clone Wars, which I have not really watched beyond a handful of episodes. But I actually really look forward to Mandalorian and actually look forward to seeing more with this character. I kind of want Boba Fett to kind of cross over with that character, and it kind of either I don't know. I'd like. Let's not do the Book of Boba Fett where we dedicate episodes strictly to Boba Fett within the Mandalorian, but let's have Boba Fett do some cameos and actually be a badass than whatever he was in his series. This Santa Clauses is another thing that caught my mind, and I'm like, the Santa Clauses like Tim Allen, are they rebooting this? This is something that's new on my radar. What could possibly be? Because I thought the Santa Claus was done after the third one. I thought he kind of finished the series, and no, it's a Disney Plus series. I do not know how many episodes. I don't think it really specifically says. I'm assuming it's coming out in December, but it looks like the Santa Claus it's plural, means that that I guess he's looking for more than one. So they're breaking the rules of Santa Claus. I don't know. I'm a little bit fascinated with this. I'm kind of curious. This will probably be an easy watch for me. This is kind of a weird thing where it's like, we talk about geek culture thing, and then we talk about Santa Claus. I guess this is a Disney thing, and sometimes Disney on its own kind of falls into a kind of its own geek culture kind of thing, or its own universe, its own thing. I'm interested in knowing if this expands the Santa Claus universe. Not just a sellout. It's not like an Airbuds. We're gonna just tap this to capitalize on it. But so weird that this has been gone for years. I don't even know. Like, let's see here. Coming to Disney Plus November 16th. So it comes out November 16th of this year. Again, this may actually be out by the time you actually hear this episode. But let's see here. When did the last Santa Claus come out? I mean, I want to say like the original Santa Claus was out like even before my kids were born. Like, this is like a kind of an old, 1994 was the original Santa Claus. So like, this is a long series that kind of died, or not, I don't want to say died out, but just kind of, it met its conclusion. I kind of wonder if this is just going to try to, restart the series. I mean, it says right here. It actually says nearly after nearly 3 decades on the job, Scott Calvin considers retiring as the Santa Claus. So he's going to retire by, I guess, not dying like that happens in the first film. Spoilers. But yeah, Santa Claus 3 came out in 2006. So I mean, this has been almost dead for a little bit less than 20 years. I mean, what was it, for 14 years? But it's piqued my interest. I'm curious about this. So, again, it might get a watch out of me. All right, another one. Now, this isn't something that's never been on my radar. I have never watched the Percy Jackson series, but they have Percy Jackson in the Olympians. As from my understanding is that the Percy Jackson film franchise never really worked. I think there's like 2 of them in the series, and it just they kind of belly flopped. They kind of didn't really work. I have no stakes in the game. I have no skins in the game, but I know like the series, like my kids are interested in the Percy Jackson series. So I'd hope that this is a reboot to reinvigorate the franchise, and hopefully it does really well. I will definitely be watching this with my kids when it comes out. So I mean, I'd hope for a better future. I'd like to see this kind of succeed and be another thing. Another notch in the Disney belt, I guess. But this one says, coming soon in 2024. So this is like way out there. So we've got some time. But amazing, there is still a trailer to this, and it's like I said, it's a series, so it's not even it's not a movie or anything. It's hopefully we'll do the books a little bit more justice than what it is, and hopefully with them learning with like Marvel and stuff that they probably put like some Marvel people in here to kind of do it some justice. Let's all take a quick break and grab a snack, and we'll be right back with some more coming attractions to Disney Plus. Welcome back. I hope you all got some tasty treats. We are looking at the coming attractions section, the coming soon spot on Disney Plus. Hopefully you guys are if you guys don't know about it, hopefully this piques your interest and you go and you check them out and bow down to our corporate overlords, I guess. Moving on, another one that we just covered, like Percy Jackson right before the break, but another franchise that kind of seemed to run out of steam is coming back. National Treasure, which again looks like it is a Disney Plus series, yeah, because it says season. It's coming December 14th, 2022. So you probably will be hearing this before the actual thing comes out. It depends on how much of a delay it comes to recording this episode. I like the National Treasure franchise just fine. It was okay, and I would like to see I understand that they want to focus on other people in the series and probably put the focus not on Nick Cage but on another character, because it looks like it's a female led character. It might actually be a team of like teenagers or young adults doing this. But I would love to see like a cameo come from Nick Cage if that's at all possible. It's a franchise that I wouldn't mind seeing have a little bit more longevity than what it had. I'm not too I'm kind of excited about this, and hopefully again it's long enough to hold my interest and short enough that it doesn't run too long enough. Did that make sense? Probably not. We have this Mickey, A Story of the Mouse. It looks like a documentary series. November 18th, 2022. Just a look into the history of the character. The write-up on here is a look into Mickey's evolution into different versions that reflect on his creator and society's changes. So it's kind of an interesting take on Mickey Mouse and kind of a documentary. And I kind of curious, is Disney trying to get this in there before Mickey comes into the public domain, or what happens when Mickey goes into the public domain? Does Warner Brothers get to make this documentary and tell the opposite side of the story? Who knows? For those fans out there, I know there's a couple listeners that are fans of the mouse. This would be probably a good watch if you're into the history of Mickey Mouse. I haven't been doing these in order. So there's two of them that I'm kind of saving towards the end. There's some that I haven't gone into detail, and I don't really think I can go into detail. So I'm gonna use this moment to just kind of to read them off. So we got a Diary of a Wimpy Kid, Roderick Rules, coming out in December 2nd, 2022. I've never watched any of the Diary of a Wimpy Kid, but if you're interested in that kind of thing, there is that coming out, and it looks like it might be a animated film. Greg takes on one of his biggest challenges yet, surviving a weekend alone with his brother Roderick. So it might be just a standalone film, if I'm to guess. Moving on to another highlight, the Mysterious Benedict Society. Looks like an original piece of work. I'm covering everything here that's kind of been a rehash of everything else. I take that back. Season 2 is coming soon to Disney Plus, so there's apparently a season 1. Something I haven't watched. I'm not really sure what it is, but if you're into it, know that a season 2 is coming out. All right, so next that we have here we have Disenchanted. So if you ever watched the movie Enchanted, this is actually a sequel to it called Disenchanted. I don't know. I mean, I liked Enchanted. I don't know how I feel about this. This kind of looks like direct to DVD kind of thing. I hope that I'm wrong about it and that there's a little bit more to it. But yeah, I might give this a watch. I liked Enchanted. There was a kind of a fun spin on Disney princesses, and I guess like this is a version that takes place with the villainous, like the villainous queens, I guess, or I don't know, the dubious characters, the whatever you want to call them. But moving on, another season of Bad Batch is coming out. I started watching Bad Batch. It was fine. I enjoyed it. Again, it's just after time, I kind of, got interested in other things, and it just felt like it was running long to me. I mean, maybe it's just me. I don't, if you're into Bad Batch and if you're into Clone Wars, do check this out. I mean, the season 1 of Bad Batch, what I saw of it, let's see here. I'm up to episode 4. So that tells you where I'm at. This says that I'm up to episode 4. But season 2 comes out in January 4th of next year. If you're into Bad Batch, that new season is on the way. All right, so now to the last two that I've been saving up for. This one I've been super excited for. I always wondered why they never made a sequel to Willow. The best that we got was a trilogy of novels that were written by George Lucas and Chris Claremont that kind of talked about Willow coming of age, and she was quite a bit older and everything else. And I just wanted a sequel to Willow. It's like for whatever reason we never got sequels to Willow. We got sequels to Star Wars, we got sequels to Indiana Jones, but we never got a Willow sequel. And that was kind of one of the first things that Disney announced once they acquired Lucasfilm, was that, hey, Willow is coming. And if you were in this coming soon area, there was if you clicked on it, they just showed you behind the scenes, and they showed you, the cast just kind of, joking with each other and clowning around and everything. This appears to be a series, so I actually think that this as a series would probably do better as a film. And we get the further adventures of Elora Danan. I would curious to know what happened to Mad Mardigan. I mean, obviously, Val Kilmer, I don't know would ever be able to reprise this role or not. If you don't know, or if you're unaware, is that Val Kilmer has lost his voice to cancer and is not really doing acting roles anymore. I believe he did appear in I don't know what capacity, but he has appeared in the new Top Gun movie. Has anybody seen that? But I think they digitally recreated his voice, or they recreated his voice through cuts of of old footage or whatnot. But yeah, I'm assuming that they're gonna let Mad Mardigan kind of move on or whatever other characters. But I'm kind of glad to see, they brought back the brownies. We've got a scene with the brownies here. And so I'm assuming you're going to get the old brownies, and we're going to get a younger generation of brownies as well. I'm kind of excited to see this. This is something that's finally not Star Wars and not Marvel. And let's see an expansion of the Willow universe. Between this and maybe I don't know, maybe Indiana Jones. I mean, Indiana Jones is a tough draw on me. They should have made more Indiana Jones when they could have made Indiana Jones, and now we get the adventures of geriatric and Indiana Jones. So Indiana Jones is a hard sell on for me. But when it comes to like Willow, like the pretty much most of the cast is still around, and again they're looking at it as more of a next generation kind of thing, and I'm excited. I'd like to see more of this universe, and hopefully they do it some justice. And then the final thing that I've been holding out on, the Marvel presentation of this thing, which is Secret Invasion. And before I even get into the trailer, I'm kind of baffled with how Secret Invasion kind of works. So Secret Invasion in the comic books was the Skrulls infiltrate the superheroes, and spoilers by the way, but I think you already probably already should have been aware of spoilers way up into this time, but in the comics, the Skrulls infiltrate like the U.S. government. They infiltrate the superheroes, and the Skrulls, of course, are shapeshifters. When Marvel started, or when the MCU started doing doing their story, and again, like, well, before we even get to the MCU, like Secret Invasion was so big in the comic books, like it was such a big deal. I remember like going to, like, I was going to Comic Cons, and that was such a big deal. You could have Skrull masks. They would give you Skrull masks, and who is a Skrull? What is one of your heroes? Are they actually a hero, or are they a Skrull? Who's a Skrull? You don't know. Who's betraying you, and it was such a big deal that it crossed over into the Ultimate Universe. And the Ultimates, which is the name of the comic, the Ultimates #1, which is the Ultimates version of the Avengers, did their own version of the Skrulls, which was the Chitauri instead of the Skrulls, who were shapeshifters. Because I think that they were, because the Ultimate Universe is actually like the formation of the MCU. That's kind of where MCU pulls from. And I kind of feel like the Ultimates they created the Chitauri over the Skrulls because Fox still owned the Skrulls. So if they were going to make a film version, they can make a film version with the Chitauri, and that's fine because Fox doesn't own the Chitauri; they own the Skrulls. So they did the Ultimate version, had the Chitauri, but they basically were doing the exact same thing. It was kind of to a lesser degree. It was kind of underwhelming a bit in comparison, and it's kind of weird that they just redid the story that was already out there. And it's just like wasn't it? I don't even think it was years old. It might have been months old, or maybe a year or two old later. And when they made an animated film, they made an animated film off the Ultimate version. So there's an animated version that's of this universe. And then we get to the MCU, and we get to, I think, the Winter Soldier. And instead, the Winter Soldier kind of does this storyline, but instead of the Skrulls, we get Hydra. And it's like, who's invaded? You don't know who to trust. Hydra's, in the deepest recesses of our universe. They could be senators. They could be other political officials. We don't know. They're in Shield. They've taken over Shield. So like they've kind of already did the Secret Invasion story, but where like in the comic books they pivoted and made it Chitauri, and then in the MCU they pivoted and they made it the Hydra. And now there's a Secret Invasion, because everybody's been clamoring for Secret Invasion. It's been all over the internet. That's like one of the top ranked things, and Disney's been saying this or Marvel Disney, I should say, has been saying this for quite some time, that we're going to make Secret Invasion. And I'm like, how can you you've bastardized the story by making it Hydra, you've kind of changed the Skrulls and how they work in the MCU. Like the Skrulls are kind of like supposed to be the good guys now. They're not really the bad guys as they are portrayed in the comic books. And here we are with Secret Invasion, which is coming out. Waiting for it to load. Coming out in 2023. It's a seasonal series. Marvel Studios Secret Invasion. Nick Fury. Nick Fury must stop Skrulls who've infiltrated Earth. So I'm just to assume that they've gone back to the well yet again on the same, like they've kind of doubled down on the same storyline. I'm hoping they do it justice. I hope that it's a little bit more. It's just kind of, I don't know. To me, it just kind of feels like we're tapping the same vein. It's like we only have like so many. We only have like this certain story arc, and we just keep tapping it. The other thing that Marvel has a tendency to do, or the MCU has a tendency to do, is that it can be in name only. Age of Ultron is nowhere near Age of Ultron in the comics. And, and the Winter Soldier, well, I mean, the Winter Soldier is the Winter Soldier, but, it kind of pales in comparison to the comic books. Civil War is way nothing like Civil War. So this could be something that kind of pales in comparison. This is something that probably is in name only. I have a theory of what's going on here. I'm guessing because he's chasing Skrulls. I'm guessing that maybe we have we just have factions of Skrulls, which is it's serviceable. We have the good Skrulls and we have the bad Skrulls, and we probably have the good Kree and the bad Kree as well. They're opposing forces. It's also kind of weird where we're kind of in an area in the MCU where it's kind of a new world order when it comes to things. We're kind of the post Hydra. But we have like the search for the superhero serum and World War Hulk's coming out and everything else. I don't know what to expect. I mean, it's a Marvel film, so I'm definitely going to end up watching it. But I'm a little bit lost and confused in comparison to everything else. So I might end up having that. I don't know if I will be bringing that with me when I watch this series, or if I can kind of look away and ignore all that and try to enjoy this for what it's worth. But with all that being said, I thank you for listening to another episode of the BestowCast, and I thank you for listening to our coming attractions. At one time, I used to be a part of a press thing where they would send me pre-releases, so it came from all studios. I would get pre-releases for a lot of things that at one time I used to actually edit it and put it up on my YouTubes, and then the whole copyright strike thing happened, and it was just kind of a nightmare where they send you trailers and they're like, yeah, go ahead and use this in your YouTube video, and then you use it in your YouTube video, and then they turn around and they copyright strike you, and then they take your money from it. Whatever money you earn from it, they take from you anyway, and it was just kind of odd, and I eventually just backed off of it and just I didn't want to have anything to do with it. But if we do this in the podcast version, maybe this is a good way to break away from just doing the Marvel Disney stuff and kind of look into the other franchises and look into the other geek culture kind of stuff. I'm sure I know that there's more Godzilla stuff coming, so I wouldn't mind previewing and discussing with you guys that kind of stuff, or DC Universe stuff. I know I'm lacking in the DC kind of side. I wish there was more Valiant stuff. I don't think Bloodshot did too well, so I don't know if there's more Valiant. I really wish that they would do some more stuff with that, but anything that's not the big two, we try to tap into some of the other stuff. But I'm rambling. I'm going to move on, and we will see you soon in the next episode of BestowCast. Thanks for listening.